Morning, church. Hope you guys are having a great morning so far. It should be a beautiful day today, one of the warmest we've had in a little while. So as you know, we are studying through the New Testament, and we are in Titus chapter 3 right now. Now, Titus and Philemon together, I feel like, are the forgotten books of the Bible. They're in between 2 Timothy and Hebrews. And Titus really is only mentioned in this one letter that Paul writes to him, that we have record of, that Paul writes to him while he's incarcerated. And now, just because they're the forgotten books or they're the small books doesn't mean that they don't have a real good information in it. And I've had a lot of fun studying through Titus. I've only studied through it once or twice, but it's just a new look at it, and I love the information that Paul has, or that it has in here. So if you want to jump on in verse 1, it says, "Remind them to be submissive to rulers and authorities, to obey, to be ready for every good work, to slander no one, avoid fighting, and be kind, always showing gentleness to all people." Now, Paul has us doing this, and it's a list that we've read before and that you know that you should do, but why? Like, if you look at it, why do we need to do that? Is it just so people are going to like us more? Is it just so, is it just because Paul said? Now, we should do it because Paul said, right? Because it's Paul. But also, the reason we do it is just a few verses later, verses 4 through 7. Paul is incarcerated right now, and he's writing to Titus, who's a leader in the church on the island of Crete. Now, Crete is a terrible island. There's a lot of wickedness, and they're just known to be awful. They even historians have even said that highway robbery is a really good thing on the island of Crete, right? But the reason that we should be like this, Paul says it a bunch of times, is verses 4 through 7 is the redemption story. Paul, the redemption story, that is our number one goal. This is what Jesus has called us to do, is to push out his story, to push out the redemption story. And if you're rude, if you're mean, if you don't get people to pay attention, if people don't like you, then it's really hard to get a good conversation with them, and it's hard to get them to listen to you. So the reason we do this isn't just so people like us. The reason we do this is to go back to what Jesus has called us to do, and our number one goal is to push out his story. And just like Paul said, to imitate Christ. Paul says it multiple times, imitate Christ, or imitate me as I imitate Christ. And we're supposed to do this because the redemption story, to push out what Jesus has told us. And we also, in doing these things, we also need to be patient, because we need to realize that the next verse, that we were once foolish, disobedient, deceived, enslaved by various passions and pleasures, living in malice, envy, hateful, detesting one another. So just because we need to imitate God, we also need to realize that we used to not be that way. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. God bless.